Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. It takes a very special kind of person to keep up with this show, because when I tell people we're playing games of this vintage, they say, oh, you're playing Atari, right? Oh, we play a lot more than Atari here. Join us as we close out the rest of the games released at some time in November 1982. We were last in Japan on the Sword M5, checking out Tank Battalion at home. Let's see what our next game is. Oh, that sound means it's time for another Star Trek variant. Good, because I've been really clamoring for more Star Trek. This is Time Trek on the BBC Micro. Let's take a look at the box. And I say box when it's really just a cassette case because, what's this? You played video games on cassette? Yes, you did. Oh, yes. So this looks like most of the boxes we've seen by Program Power. And actually, if you take your hand and cover the top title, the title of this game, it basically tells you you're playing Star Trek. I mean, that is a spot-on Enterprise. It looks exactly... They're not hiding anything with that the front of that box. Jeremiah's already thrown out 5-star time because he says every Star Trek game needs to be 5 stars. Let's pop it and play Time Trek. This is all we have. By David Elliott, released at some time in November 1982 by Program Power. Oh, and I think we messed up our boot cycle. There we go. David Elliott and Program Power released at some time in 1982. Time Trek, bring us there. This is the 45th game we played for the Acorn BBC Micro, and the 29th game we've seen by Program Power, or published by Program Power. They've done 5 games for the NASCOM we've seen, 9 games on the Acorn Atom, games like Demon Dungeon and Hyperfire and Warlords, and this is their 14th game they've published for the BBC Micro. Games like Barrage, Laser Command, and Galactic Commander. And yes, we are in command of the Starship Enterprise. I love when the Star Trek variant games are actually Star Trek. Look, there's the Enterprise. Press any key to start your mission. You are on the Federation's most advanced starship, the Enterprise. Your mission is to search the galaxy and destroy all Klingons. Haven't heard that one before. You've set your disposal the very latest weapon system, including photon torpedoes and phasers. In dire emergency, there's a panic button. Awesome. Also included a sophisticated scanner and computer system. Warning, reports say a fleet of Klingons will arrive in 30 stardates. Enter your skill level. You can do 20, which is impossible. I'll start with a skill level 2 because we'll be playing the entire game. These strategy games can take some time. So this one's the 4th game we've seen by David Elliott. Way to go, David. He's done games like El Dorado Gold on the BBC Micro and the NASCOM, and Alien Destroyers, which is kind of like Space Invaders. So here is Star Trek. So all the commands are at the bottom. Look, it tells you long-range scan, phasers. At the top of the screen, it has the galactic map, the full map, and the short-range scan. E is Enterprise, where we are, and it shows the quadrant that we're in. So if we want to do a long-range scan, we just do this. And it shows, oh, there we go. We're on the center gold area, and it looks like we got some activity north in quadrant 2-6. So how do we get there? Well, when you move your way around the galaxy, make sure you manage all your energy resources, and then you blow up all the Klingons before a certain star date. All right, so let's go ahead and move our way around. I really like the way this looks. Uh-oh, a star is going supernova. Which one is it? This is awesome. It's a real-time Star Trek variant. So I just sit here and drink my tea, then the whole game will continue to play itself. Uh-oh, it was around our area. We've been blasted into space. Oh my gosh. The other thing that's cool about these games is they're completely random. So when I did play tests, this didn't happen to me. All right, now that we're here, let's do another long-range scan. Looks like we're up on, well, they blew us way at the top. Okay, let's move to quadrant 07. So let's move ourselves over on that side. You can see we have, I really want to push the panic button before we finish the game too, but let's do a hyperspace. F3. How much? Oh, phasers. No, I didn't want phasers. I want hyperspace. No, not torpedoes. You can't destroy yourself. I want damage report. Let's see. We got torpedoes, phasers, long-range scan, shield control. Let's get some shields up. 300 energy, 399 to shields. And let's do... Oh, what happened? Klingons are here. Quick, I'm glad we got our shields up. Man, this happened so fast. We got the 2 Klingons, been blasted into space. Phasers, quick. Oh, that's torpedoes. I wanted phasers. Scotty, give me phasers. There we go. 200 to phasers. Go, go, go. Fire. So this is the action, the real-time strategy action of playing Time Trek. All right, so let's do it again. Phasers, quick. 300 to phasers. Not enough energy. Oh, gosh, they've used all the energy up from the shields. Uh-oh. Not good. We need to get out of here. Damage report. We got repair advisable. Yes, repair. Star date for repairs, 2. And go. Give me... Well, how many... I only have 12 energy. We got to get the heck out of here. Hyperspace. Computer inoperable. Oh, no. I think they've already got us. We should have put more energy to shields. But it's pretty cool playing a real-time Star Trek strategy or Star Trek variant of the games. I really like the way the colors pop on the BBC Micro. I like the way that this one is doing what the most advanced Star Trek variants are doing. You know, the real-time strategy element to it. It's got the same menu structures we've seen before. Everything's with the function keys on the BBC Micro. This is the 70th time we played a Star Trek game or variant of the 1971 mainframe game. It's also the very first time we've seen a company have 2 Star Trek games. Program Power already has a game called Star Trek that we played on the show. This is the second Star Trek game. I don't know how you, as a company, would find the reason to make a second game and make 2 Star Trek games. Maybe it's that popular. It's that much fun. Yeah, they already did a Star Trek by Richard M.P. Hansen, and this is the second time. This one is much better than the other game by Program Power. So if you had one to pick right now, I'd pick this Time Trek version. I'd say this version is a little closer to Battle Trek we've seen on the Atari home computer, or Galactic Encounters and New Trek on MS-DOS, and Space Trek that we saw for the Dragon 32. So it has a lot of the elements that we've seen. I might even say maybe 3.5 stars if you want to think of all the games you could play on all home computers right now. But it is still using keyboard control only, menu command. We've seen some Star Trek games that use, oh, cool, wow, the Enterprise is destroyed and the whole thing glitches out. That's awesome. Way to go. Yeah, well, I also am not using any filter for this emulator as if you were to play it on a CRT television. That's why it looks even brighter than usual, but it still is pretty good. Another game? Yeah. Nice. Let's do Impossible. How many... What does it mean by impossible? If we do an impossible Star Trek game to play. All right, let's go ahead and get the shields up quickly. Where's my shield control? It's 5. I want 1,000 to shields. There we go. Get us a little bit better protected. And so you can see, I'm just going to do a few of the commands. Computer's online. It's nice when we don't have any repairs to do. But let's also hit the panic button. What happened? Wait, the panic... That's what the panic button is what I should have done last time, because it just warps you to a random place. It's kind of like in Asteroids when you push the hyperspace button, you blink away for a sec. But this one, you know, there's so many quadrants in the galaxy that it just warps you to a whole nother quadrant. So that's what the panic button does. Yes, there you go, Manly. All right, just a quick taste of what it's like to play Time Trek. You obviously, when you play Star Trek variants like this, you spend a lot longer getting used to the mechanics and how well it works compared to the others. I've done some longer play tests, and this one's all right. I still attest that this is pretty similar to the other ones we played. So I'm thinking around 3 stars to the 3.5 star range for all the games we played up to this point for all home computers. If you enjoy Star Trek, you might think around 3.5 star. But if you think, okay, we've already done 70 Star Trek style games like this, there's going to be even more. This isn't even we're not done. I think we're going to see them throughout the 80s. 70 already is amazing. So looking over the chat, Jeremiah is thinking 3.5. Most of the people are saying 3.5 stars, and even Mark's saying 3.5. So it's a good time, and also it's working fairly well and fast. And a real-time Star Trek is much better than a turn-based Star Trek. Yeah, so I'll go 3.5 stars for Time Trek. Well done. Join the ranks of all the other Star Trek games that are out there. All right, after that game, let's see what's next.
In recession.
Oh man, we're going to go in the very weird territory. This is Trader on the Sinclair ZX81. Man, the games are getting stranger and stranger. Here's the box for Trader, another one on cassette tape. Don't put that in your audio cassette, your Walkman. This is a video game. You got to pop it into your computer. It's hard enough to look at an amorphous hydrosilicon blob from PSI. Never mind, swing a deal with one. But when they ask to pick your brains, really? You put that on the front of your cassette case? This is the first time you would have seen this game with this front of the box. And they're showing a picture of the game itself, which is pretty nice. This one marks the 90th game we've seen for the Sinclair ZX81. Flip it over in the back and, hey, it's a cassette tape. This game could also be known as the Trader Trilogy because it takes place in 3 parts. Let's see the other artwork we have for Trader. This one is by Pixel Productions, there at the bottom. That means we're in for some weird stuff. This is the 10th time we've seen Pixel Productions here on Chronologically Gaming. They've given us very bizarre games like Subspace Striker, Encounter, Star Quest, and Zor. Not Zon, that's a totally different one. Yeah, there's the later box when they call it the Trader Trilogy, the ultimate graphic adventure, which help me with the genre. What in the world would you classify this game? Because it's not a true adventure game. There it is again. That's the ad you would have seen from magazines. Yeah, there it is. It's also released a little bit later by Quicksilva. The 10th time that we've seen Quicksilva here on Chronologically Gaming. They've done games like QS Asteroids, QS Defender, and QS Scramble. And this one I'm just showing different boxes, but the very first time you would have seen this game, this is the manual you would have had. It is a very long lore breakdown. It's even breaking down the commodities because this is meant to be a space merchant simulation. The kind of game we played where you move around the galaxy, buying and selling goods, mining for materials, things like that. Got a little bit of artwork here, and this is the inside sleeve of the cassette case. It's the guide for traders in the Meridian system. I think that's what it is. There's the cassette tape we're going to pop in to play Trader. Yeah, there we go. An example of the screenshot too. And the later manual, this is the one that was released for majority of different systems, but I'm just going to show you what we have to deal with. Like this is a massively long manual, unnecessarily long for lore. For all those that love lore, then the Trader might be for you. You're going to spend 30 minutes reading about it. So it has lots of loading instructions and even games or ports that we haven't even seen yet for Trader. The background is Meridian's a beautiful gas giant in the Altair system, 16 light years from Earth. Not unlike our own Jovian system with 6 main satellites plus the usual amount of space debris. Of the 6 moons, all but one are inhabited. Beta, Delta, and Epsilon have terraformed and settled by ex-Terrans in Alpha. See, this is the beginning of the lore. And then they even get a little bit of artwork for us. The commodities are the ones that you're going to be selling in the game. Do you choose to go for Petrochem, Munch, Synthomunch? Or do you want to try something more risky and buy and sell Booster Spice? Yes, the narcotic. Very, very illegal. Or you can just use gold, too. I guess that's Booster Spice is what we're looking at from the picture there. So this is the manual you wouldn't have seen right now in November 1982. Sometime around 1983, I think, is whenever this would have been available. But great job bringing the game home. So you're going to be selling to different customers. It is alien races all over the galaxy. There's an example of the solar system that we're going to be in and who we are. We're not done. That was the lore of the world we're in. That's the world building. And now the lore for we are Trentor, the trader, merchant extraordinaire, guided our ship through the outer orbital belt of Meridian. That's who we play in this game. And it goes on of your history, who you are in the game, what your goal is, and it's meant to be buying and selling things. And you can read this at your leisure. Please pause the video if you want to get more lore about Trader or the Trader trilogy, because look at this. This is a lot of lore for a video game. And for what we're about to witness and play, we didn't need this much lore. This is even more than than Yar's Revenge that we saw on the Atari 2600. Yeah, and Charlie's throwing out a Privateer, way proto-Privateer. Yes. All right, so then we have some other games that Quicksilva has done, and I believe we've seen all of them. Yeah, that Pixel has done as well. Quicksilva and some later ones because it's a later manual. But here you go. You also have in the back a little bit of semi-feelies. The Meridian System Trading Certificate, which is a nice touch that they put something in there. All right, so after all of that, is everyone ready? Let's pop it and play Trader. Pixel Productions, published by Pixel and later by Quicksilva at some time in November 1982. All right, so here's the first loading test is done. I did a save state, but now we have to do the second loading test. We have to reserve a block and then load into the game. Ready? Load. Oh, shift. Did I not do the right one? Nope, go back, stop. I want load. There. You gotta do T1 and fingers crossed, yes, Pixel Production does present the game. It begins with a flashy title screen. And remember, we don't have sound on the Sinclair ZX81. No one will hear you scream in space. Yeah, the space adventure in 3 parts. This is part 1. All right, I'm ready. There's the Pegasus. It's already reminiscent of other games by Pixel Productions where I am not doing anything. I am watching the game. Space Hopper Pegasus touches down at Epsilon Dock. Business is brisk. You must invest most of your 1,000 credits in cargo and fuel. Let us see what the market is like today. So it begins like a simulation game where you're deciding how much you want to buy. And so now we pick how much of each commodity. How much hopper fuel do we want? Let's do 2 of hopper fuel. Or 170 per fill is what it says. And then Petrochem, let's pick up 3 of those. 38 per unit. So you're just making the decisions for each one. How much munch do we want? Let's do 5 units of munch. This is all that we're going to be buying and then end up trading later. Syntho munch. Let's do 10 of those. Sure, why not? All right, and then booster spice. Do we want to do our narcotic? Yes, we do. Let's just have one of those. We'll tuck it under a mattress or something. And then gold, how many units do we want? Let's do 20. Do we have enough to do 20? I think so. Yeah, there we go. All right, looking good. So we've made our first actual game thing that we did. Because most of the time when we play games by Pixel Productions, it's a lot of just watching cutscenes. So there's our cargo inventory. What we've bought, we're ready. Now, this first part is now going to act out. There's the fuel loading up on our Pegasus starship. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching the cutscene. So I'll give Pixel Productions one thing. They are really good at making a game that is presentation through the roof. It's more presentation than gameplay, which, to tell you the truth, is like most of the games nowadays. So they're a pioneer in it. Do you want to watch more of the game you're playing, or do you actually want to play the game you're playing? Yeah, there you go, Charlie. Atmospheric. I would say that too. I know the graphics for this and the animation they're putting on this ZX81 is great. Here we go. Look, push T. So I just pushed one key, and then you saw our ship take off. We're now on a flight path to PSI. Let us know what the flight computer has to say about it. Or let us see what the flight computer has to say about it. There's the place we're going first is PSI. It shows us the information about the planet. Resources are petrochem. Ooh, telekinesis over spatial distances. The hop to PSI will not take very long in this ship. We are already approaching orbit. So again, it's reading and presentation. I can understand why they called it an adventure game, because it has the elements, but it's not really a big adventure game like something you'd use with a text parser. Oh, DOS games at the library. Yeah, those are really fun. We will be seeing DOS tonight, at least. And then we go to the... So this is a game in 3 parts. You essentially will be living this first part. See, again, I'm not controlling any of this. I'm just watching the trading happen. And then this must be one of the aliens that comes onto the ship. I guess it's an amorphous blob. I think so. Well, human, if you want fuel, we're only interested in one thing. Do they want booster spice? The narcotic? Let's see if... Your brainwave patterns. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, this feels more like I'm watching a movie, and we felt that way when we played the other Pixel Productions games. Yes, right? So how would you define this? I'm defining this as it's a merchant trade simulation game, but it also is just a generic adventure game. It's not technically a text adventure game. See, look, it's asking for our first name. It's so bizarre. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop our play of Trader right there. It is extremely bizarre, like we've seen before. We didn't even get through the whole first part for this test. But I would say it is not a lot of gameplay. Right now, the video games you want to play on home computers are going to be arcade style, lots of gameplay, or they're going to be something that you're going to be using your mind a lot. This one really doesn't do any of them. We've even played video games that have mini games. This one really doesn't have that either. So of all the games you could play on all home computers, I'm going to say with Trader or Trader Trilogy, I'm going to say 2 stars for all the games you could play. It's a bad game because there's not much game there. It's more of witnessing almost a proto demo, if you want to call it that, something like that. Manly's throwing out 4, yes, for the ZX81 only. It would be something to behold, yeah. And Jeremiah was also saying very hard to rate. And yeah, I see a mark with the kind of a time waster. Yes, it would be a good time waster. But that's not all. Trader was also available on the Commodore VIC-20. So this is when they released it as the Trader Trilogy. Let's take a look at Trader. So it looks very similar to what we saw the later release after the ZX81, then it came here with an example of the screenshot. Let's pop it and play the Trader Trilogy, or Trader, by Pixel Productions, published by Quicksilva at some time in November 1982. This is the 323rd game we've played on the Commodore VIC-20, and the 11th by Pixel Productions, and the 11th that we've seen by Quicksilva. So I don't want to wait for this to load. It takes a long time. A space adventure in 3 parts. Part 1, Pegasus. Ooh, we get sound and color. But you can tell they just transferred everything over from the ZX81. We're doing it right here. Cool, we're getting a little bit more atmospheric sound effects. Got the ship coming down to land, and again, I'm not controlling any of it. All we're doing is watching the cutscene. Pixel Productions must have saw Pac-Man and said, hey, that cutscene idea is great. Let's make a whole game that way. The space hopper Pegasus touches down at Epsilon. You have to invest most of your 1,000 credits in cargo and fuel and buy some of each commodity. So you've seen, we're playing the beginning just like we did before from that. Let us see how the market is today. All right, hopper fuel, let's buy only one of those. We got 1,000 credits. Petrochem, let's buy 3 of them this time. And Munch, just 2 of those. Syntho Munch, let's buy 10 of those. Let's buy, oh, the price has changed. Let's buy 1 booster spice. And then the rest of the gold, let's buy 200. Oh, don't have enough for that. Sorry, 100 is what I meant. Wait, we got to do it all over again? if you go over, you have to reset the whole thing? Okay, 1 hopper fuel. Time waster it is. Petrochem, let's do 3 of them. Munch, let's do 5. Syntho Munch, 10. 1 booster spice. And 100. I guess I could have made... Wait, what? You don't have enough credit for 1? I have 460. What? Am I going way over, or are they not calculating it correctly? We'll just do much lower than we were before. Syntho Munch 5, Booster Spice 1, and gold, let's just do 20. There we go. Oh, yeah. I was going way over. No way we could do 100. We need over 1,000 for it. Okay, here we go. Trader. You have 208 credits, and there's our inventory. That's what we bought to trade interstellar space, or at least in this area of the galaxy. Nice. Cutscene. Oh, see, they added the music to it. So yeah, this one is a little bit more fleshed out, I guess, with the sound, but it's the same idea, the general idea of the game. Yeah. Sights and sounds, it gets an additional bonus point. So Jeremiah's already thrown out 2.5 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. But still, it is impressive what the ZX81 can do. It's just, I still attest that this is just a strange idea for a game because it's not much game. Pegasus now loaded permission. All right, here we go. Press T. Take off. I finally interacted with the game. I pushed 1 key. Well, I guess I typed in, you know, what cargo I wanted to bring on. But still, it's so limited. Good gosh. Oh, and that's a good point, Marshall. If you realize how the game starts every time, there's no save feature. You'd just be starting this. All right, we're going to PSI. There's the information of the planet. Requirements does not compute. I don't know what that means. We're not getting as much information about the planet as we did on the ZX81. All right, how long will this... Okay, we're already approaching orbit of PSI. Look how fast we're going. I thought we'd have a different screen. Oh, ooh, cool. It's actually having the planet come up. And then land. Nice. Hatch opens up. See, this whole experience is really impressive. There are very few video games that are doing this much for you to watch. I mean, another way to put it is the perspective of the gaming landscape right now is we get excited if the video game has, you know, little guys that come out on a stretcher when you die, and just a little animation for that. That's quaint. So look at what this is doing. This is doing so much. It's just not doing much for in the world of gaming. There's the alien creature again, slogging over to us. The other thing you gotta realize is the manual had a lot of lore. All right, if you want fuel, we're only interested in one thing. Your brainwave patterns. We thrive on mental activity. So I wonder if they're going to do what we saw with Encounter, where it's like questions. Yes. Oh, we got to answer questions. I wonder if they're randomizing it every time we play. No, actually, on the ZX81, every time I played 3 times, and every time it was the same one. All right, what's your first name? Yeah, same thing. I am Chrono. So they're going to do a slight mini game, maybe, like they did with Encounter. Chrono, what a stupid name. Mine is... See, very, very quaint. What is our distance in light years from Earth? Oh, gosh. Did anyone memorize what it had on the... when we approached PSI? I guess I could pull up the manual if I wanted to, but I think they're trying to determine one, if we have the manual, or two, if we remembered what PSI was. Anybody have a photographic memory that can... 14? I'll try that, Marshall. Let's see. We see if we get it right or we end up being idiots. Obviously, I will have to ask easier questions. That means we got it wrong. We will start again. Oh, gosh. So you see what they're trying to do, though. It's way more engaging on a story perspective than other video games. You have 10 seconds to input 29 times 11. I believe that is 300 and... Is it 300 and... 312? I don't have my calculator to pull up right now. 313? Oh, you took too long, human. See? Very quaint what they're trying to do with this game. So how would you classify this? What is the next number in this sequence? 314, 159, 314. Wait, isn't that pi? 314, 159, 7? I don't think it's not correct. What's the chemical formula for nitrobenzene? Yikes, I don't know. This sounds, it feels like I'm playing a quiz game right now. And then Kun just throws out a 2-star. How many units of gold do you have on board? We have 20. At least I know that one. Yeah, it was pi, Marshall, right? You got 2 wrong, you can have some fuel, but you must give us your booster spice. Interesting. So it's not a real, like, it's not a true simulation trading, but it is where we have to, I guess, do little mini games like this. Right? Oh, yeah, the Merlin games. That's true, Manly. So there you go. That's the Trader Trilogy on the Commodore VIC-20. Man, still, I don't know. This is such a difficult game to rate because there's still not a lot of game here. It was borderline quiz, but that was just one of the elements when you travel to different planets. And it's not randomized. Every time that you play, at least the ones I have, you're always going to the same planet every time. Wow, yeah, right? Yeah, and they shook down our narcotics, the booster spice, just insane. Wow, and Barclay's throwing out 4 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. I guess it's true. Some people really want a story and lore to play, and you could sink your teeth in and have a good time, but I'm not as impressed. Charlie's going, yeah, a quirky way to like the game. Whenever we played the game The Black Sage for the very first time, it's kind of like a single-user dungeon, a SUD instead of a MUD, but they had a lot of comedy on when we played the game, and I really enjoyed how well it was written. So you can tell they take a long time writing the lore and story, and when you play the game, they take a long time. But still, I'll just say I'm not as impressed because there's just not as much game. So I'll say 2.5 stars of all the games you could play on all home computers. But that's a tricky one. Even the chat's little device, we got 2, 3, 2.5. Yeah, there's and even 3.5 stars of all the games you could play. We're all over the place. All right, so after that game, let's see what our next one is. It's time to go on MS-DOS and play Treasure Hunt. Just Treasure Hunt, that's it. In fact, all I have is a few screenshots for Treasure Hunt. Let's pop it and play some Treasure Hunt. Are you ready? All right, Treasure Hunt. Not to be confused with Treasure Hunt. That was the Hidden in a Grid game on mainframe from 1977. And also not on the Sol 20, the Cosmac, or TI Calculator Treasure Hunt. We don't play any of those systems. And it's also not the text adventure game on the TRS-80 called Treasure Hunt. This is only on MS-DOS, and it's the 129th game we've played for MS-DOS, PC-DOS, all that stuff. And if you see Ensign Software up there, we've only seen one other game by Ensign Software. It was Cribbage. So here's the keypad usage. We're going to be moving around using all these commands to play the game. Treasures appear as yellow squares. Move into the same space to retrieve it. Do you have color display? Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got color display. Big time. All right, we're in. So cool. So we didn't have a way to change the view, but look, I can turn around the other direction, and I can even pick, if you look at the top of the screen, I can say how much map I want to display. I can show a little bit, or I can show all of it. Ooh, look at that. And then I can move my way forward. I see a treasure at the end of the hallway. Let's go ahead and grab it. Ooh, and every time you pick it up, the PC speaker just gives you gold. No, don't end the game. I hit the wrong button. Whoops. And then if you look at the top map, it is what they call footsteps in the game. It's marking by those little pixel green dots of every place you've been in this map. So really nice touch. It's not a true auto map, but I'm going to classify it as such because it's letting you know where you've been in the maze, which is really cool. All right, so let's go ahead and turn to the left. I can make my way forward, or I can even run faster, like moving more than one tile at a time. Pick up a little bit of the treasure. Got painting coins. Painting ring coins. I think I saw another one over here. Let's see. It's very brisk because you paid a lot of money for your IBM PC. A necklace. Here on the IBM PC, to hear music like that is rare, and it's pretty cool. Nice touch for the maze game. All right, we're just going around and we're picking up every piece of treasure. A rug necklace? I don't know what that is. Maybe it was just picked up a rug. And go ahead and pick up another piece here. This is really fun. It is a 3D maze game, and we've seen so many 3D maze games so far on Chronologically Gaming. We now break them into two different parts. Is it a 3D maze game that has action, arcade, you know, like they took Pac-Man and made it a 3D maze game, or is it like this, where it's just a puzzle? There is no one coming after us. We're not being chased. It is a very nice time. We do have a time limit, you know, in the top of the screen, but there's nothing that's like trying to get us. All we're trying to do is make our way around the maze, navigate the maze, collect all the treasures. So we would refer to this as a puzzle maze game. And this is the 20th puzzle 3D maze game we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. All right, I'm going to look at my map now. You can see that's everywhere we've been. So let's go in these hallways over here, see if we find something else. You do have the ability to turn off those footprints if you feel like it's cheating at the top of the screen. All right, I think that's where we've been. Okay, we haven't checked the other side. Let's see how this looks over here. Nothing down that hallway. All right, so we'll look at the map again, and we can go, let's go all the way over here and make our way to the right to see if there's anything around the side. Oh, nothing down this hallway, it looks like. Some of the maze games, 3D maze games we've seen so far have been Escape, Maze Game, Death Maze 5000, 3D, and among 3D Maze that's been on lots of home computers, just called 3D Maze. We've also played Captivity on the Atari home computer, and The Tomb of Dracula is another one. And so this one is really cool with the presentation. It's randomly generated, which is a nice touch for 3D Maze games. This marks the 102nd game we played that's a randomly generated 3D maze, and I like the 3D draw-in. It's also not trying to look like wireframe. It actually looks like solid texture colors here, which is a nice touch as we walk around. Oh yeah, CGA graphics is another thing that's got going for it. It's very, very fun. The other thing that's unique about this is it's not a first-person perspective. Most 3D maze games don't have a character in the way, but we can actually see ourselves. It's a behind-view 3D maze game, which is original. It's different. It's the first time we've ever played a 3D maze game where we actually see ourselves, even though, you know, it's just a little yellow guy here. This perspective is a little rare. This is the 18th video game that has a behind-view perspective that we've seen so far. Most of the time you're going to see this with not 3D maze games, but things like Turbo that we saw on the arcade and ColecoVision, or Star Strike on the Intellivision, or Pole Position in the arcade, or most recently Zaxxon that we saw on the Atari 2600, because they didn't want to go isometric. They wanted to go a completely different way. All right, let's make our way down this hallway. So I'm enjoying this. This is fun. For a 3D maze game, very well done. And we just did it. We found all of the objects, and you can play again. It doesn't give you the option to make difficult or design more difficult mazes. It's pretty much just what you see here is all you got, but still fun. There you go. That's Treasure Hunt for MS-DOS. I would argue this has been the most fun puzzle 3D maze game we've played on any home computer right now. And there's a lot of 3D maze games that are out there. It doesn't rival games like Mastermind or Mind Master that we played for the Atari 2600, but it's still a very fun and enjoyable game for everything you could play up to this point. Looking over in the chat, Marshall's saying it's not Doom. No, it's not. Not even close. We have played Phantom Slayer, which is the closest thing you could even compare to Doom at this point. but I'll just pretend I have no idea what Doom is, which is a sad time. Most people are throwing up pretty averages for all the games you could play. I would actually say we rated lots of games for 1982 that were 3D maze games. This one's doing a little bit more, and so I actually enjoy the quality of life and the presentation of this. I'm going to go a little bit higher just to say this one is the best right now puzzle 3D maze game. It's a 3.5-star game of all the games you could play on all home computers right now, an above average game. Yes, Guns like throwing out another game I've never heard of here in November 1982. I have no idea what Crisis is either. All right, there you go. So, and just for fun, let's do one more this evening. Ready and go. Let's play some Tron on the Commodore PET. Bet you weren't expecting that one. Here is Tron, another game that is not official Tron, even though we have the video going. This all we got is a few screenshots for this one. Let's pop it and play Tron, the light cycle game, made by somebody, released freely at some time in November 1982. Where in the world are we going to go next? All right, so this one we have to load up to get us to go in. I want Tron Light Cycles. Light Cycles? Yeah. Light Cycles. Comma 8, comma 1, engage. On the Commodore PET. It's still going. This is the 69th game we've played thus far on the Commodore PET. And I like keeping the border around of the original Commodore PET as if we're playing on something that old. There it is, Tron, the light cycle game. A free game? Yeah, we've seen that before too. This is the 60th time we've played a freeware game or a free-to-play game on Chronologically Gaming. All right, so we can see the instructions. What do we got? Oh, very nice. Using Petsky graphics for Sark's cycle and Tron cycle. Henchmen for the MCP. Sark's destroyers. The user delivered on the game grid. Is that something from the movie that I missed? I don't remember that part. Sark's cycle is controlled by the computer, and then us, we're Tron, the leader of the user believers. Believers? Tron, once caught, became the best game warrior. You play the role of Tron, and our controls are okay. We're just doing it's a light cycle game. Duh. There we go. Object is to maneuver your cycle so that Stark's cycle runs into a barrier. We got it. We've done it before. So I'm at the top. Let's just see if we can block him in here. Okay, he'll go that way. Nice. Go. Oh, I crashed in the side. And Stark wins. It's a light cycle game. And don't adjust your audio. There is no sound on this one. It is just make your way around and try to destroy or block him in at least. This is the 20th time we've played a light cycle game. Yes, Tron wins. Wait, there's no score. See, this feels like it's a rushed job, or you're just trying to mess. He did it again, and he just kills himself. Oh, man, look at that. We saw light cycle games all the way back in 1976 with Commotion and Blockade, and then some of the really good ones have been Surround on the Atari 2600 and Snafu on the Intellivision. Ooh, this will get him. Go, go, go. We also saw Tron in the arcade and as a handheld, official Tron. Not this one. This one is a fan game. And we recently just saw Novatron that was on MS-DOS, and it was pretty fun. Even though this one is even more simplistic. It's the idea we've seen since 1976 essentially. And then we also saw even more recently on the ZX Spectrum Caterpillar Crunch, and then Barrier and Barricade. So for Tron fan games, though, we played another one that might have been made by the same person, but we just don't know who did it. It was Journey to the MCP, and this is possibly the second game they made. The only other fan game we've seen by Tron has been Novatron up to this point. I love when we have a game that's called Tron, but it's not even official. This is an unofficial port of Tron. We have no idea who even did this one. This is the 50th time we played a video game that's been an unofficial port of a video game. So I would say still it's the light cycle game. It's only the one mode, but I mean it kind of works, but there's no score. So it's almost like you're going to be just wasting time playing it. Yeah, how many games are just we're going to be finding out. Right now, this is the first ever video game that is a light cycle game named Tron. That's not a real one or a variant of Tron. And so far, there's only been 2 official games. Everything else we've seen for home consoles has been like discs of Tron, things like that. So it's an all right time, but there's not a lot of really good gameplay if it's not going to keep score. Plus, you have to play against the computer, which is kind of interesting because in the arcade you had to play against a human player when we saw this in 1976. Man, I don't know. I can't even call it average for all the games you could play. It's very simplistic. And over in the chat, I see some people throwing out 2 stars. Just remember, there's very little game to this. I'm thinking around 1.5 to 2 stars of all the games you could play. Yeah, because of the limited content, I gotta go low. Manly's being pretty kind with 2.5 stars, and no more than 2 is what Kun says. I'll say I'll go lower than that. It's rough. Yeah, I'll say 2. 1.5, 2. Yeah, I see another 1.5. Man, this is a tricky one. Yeah, I'll go 1.5. Of all the games you could play, it's bad. It's around the bad range, but there's just not enough to this. It's rare to play something on the Commodore PET up to this point. All right, there you go. It's time to put the video game playing on pause. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Chronologically Gaming. We're still going to keep going playing every single video game, and we're getting close to the end of November 1982. So let me know if there's any games that we missed before we close out November. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, the fastest we have ever gone on a motorcycle on any home computer, tumbling into frenzy games on your Radio Shack Coco, and a new game by Adventure International for the Apple II that's not an adventure game. That's it for today, and like I always say, may you be success. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.